Synergies in Magic Chess are divided into roles and factions. On the surface, it appears as if there is no difference between the two types of synergies, but trends and performance of strategies in the game tell us otherwise. In this video, I'm going to explore as deeply as possible, citing as many examples as exist in the game, and explain exactly what makes the two types of synergies different. Let's get started. A synergy is a group of heroes with similar traits, and each hero belongs to at least two synergies, a role and a faction. Factions are made up of heroes with similar affiliations in the Mobile Legends lore. Examples include Northern Vale, which is made of Northern Vale heroes, and Cadia Riverlands, which is made up of heroes that belong to the Cadia Riverlands country. Factions can also be made of heroes that belong to the same skin collection. Examples include the Astro Power, which is made of heroes in the Zodiac skin collection, and Wormslayer Warrior, which is made of heroes in the Dragon Tamer skin collection. Because of this, factions are usually a mix of melee and ranged heroes, of tanks and damage dealers. Roles, on the other hand, are made of heroes that serve the same function in their respective factions. Like factions, they have similar properties that make them fit into a role. An example is the Archer synergy, which is made of heroes who use ranged weapons in their basic attacks. These ranged weapons include bows and arrows, darts, spears, and mystical Higambana or whatever Hanabi's weapon is called. Let me know in the comments. Another role is the Gunner synergy, which is made of heroes who use guns as their primary weapons. As a result of this, roles are generally imbalanced in terms of the team composition, as all heroes in a role are either ranged heroes or melee heroes, with the exception of a few such as Gunner synergy, which has Bane, and the Mage synergy, which has Julian. This is the surface level difference between the roles and the factions in Magic Chess. Looking at it like this, you might think, oh well, this doesn't affect my strategy, I'll just build one of both. That is the usual convention, but is it actually as efficient as it sounds? To answer this question, let us look at the difference between the synergy effects, that is, the bonus granted for activating the synergies. If you compare the synergy effects of all factions and roles, you will notice a few things. First is that every role grants effects that benefit all members of the role. The Weapon Master role increases the lifesteal of every hero irrespective of synergy, but adds a shield to Weapon Master heroes. The Mage synergy increases the magic damage of every Mage hero. The Elementalist synergy allows all its heroes to recover mana after casting the skill. The Gunner synergy increases the crit chance and damage of the Gunner heroes. The Wrestler synergy allows its heroes to stun enemies on basic attacks. The Swordsman synergy increases the physical attack of its heroes the more they damage enemies. The Guardian synergy increases the defense of all Guardian heroes. The Archer synergy increases the range of all archers and allows all to reduce enemy defense. Every single role in the game provides effects which are beneficial to all its members. When you look at the factions, however, you will notice that they provide beneficial effects to only one hero, or they provide beneficial effects to all heroes, but only on the surface. The most popular Nature Spirit strategy is the Eudora Call with Link Skill 3. This strategy relies on only Eudora. The other Nature Spirit heroes are kept inside the Phoenix. You might think that because the Nature Spirit synergy allows all heroes to share 1 HP bar, it helps all of them. But in reality, it only helps the squishier ones, Eudora, Mia, and Roger. These heroes can cast their skills more frequently when they have the damage reduction from the synergy. And if the tankier members, Belleric and Atlas, are well upgraded, they have much higher HP. The Astro Power synergy by default gives a bonus to the hero with the most equipment. What happens to the other heroes? They just exist with base stats. The Wormslayer Warrior synergy gives a boost to the hero that gets a kill on an enemy. So what happens to the rest? What if your core hero does not get the kill? The Cadia Riverland synergy increases the attack speed and grants a shield to surviving members when one hero dies. So what happens when your core dies? The Ablaze Bounty synergy places a bounty on an enemy hero at the start of a round and gives gold when the bounty is claimed. It also adds Ablaze Power. On the surface, this looks like a synergy that can buff all its members, but in reality it just adds gold. The Ablaze Power is good for Esmeralda and Aldous, but they still need their roles built up to see any significant benefits. The Saber synergy summons Unitrons that inherits the stats of its members. However, the Unitrons are so weak that it does not matter. Now you cannot do anything with the Unitrons unless you have either the Gunner or Weapon Master synergies as damage dealers and tanks respectively. Northern Vale restores full mana to its heroes, but so what? Only people who play Thar skill 3 and get all heroes to 3 star can just power through. But what is an Aurora with only one skill cast? What is a Freya without the extra shield from Weapon Master? She can cast her ultimate earlier, but her base mana has been reduced to the point where she will always cast the ultimate anyway. So what then is the point? Necro Keep is an even worse variation. Faramis, one of the most broken mages, gets reduced to a minion. Leomord and Vexana can probably still try because they are rare heroes, and thus innately stronger, but this already proves that the faction only exists to buff some of the heroes. In the comments of my synergy tier list, I got a lot of people wondering why Mystic Burial ranked so low. And the basis of this was Hayabusa, the new 4 gold swordsman with a higher scaling than Ling. Okay, sure, give Hayabusa the Mystic Scroll so that all heroes can turn to Hayabusa. But doesn't this just prove that the synergy exists only for Hayabusa? What about the other Mystic heroes? What is their fate? Benedetta is a very good tank, and Kagura is one of the scariest damage dealers in the game. But what are they going to do with just the Mystic Burial synergy? Speaking of tier list, you would notice that all the S rank synergies are roles, and all the C rank synergies are factions. Coincidence? I think not. The Forsaken Light faction is the most superficial of all. Increases the attack speed of all heroes when a Forsaken Light hero casts a skill, you say? Basically, the Forsaken Light heroes don't matter. They only exist to increase the attack speed of others. Now don't get me wrong, I love this synergy, but it screams support, which is exactly what all factions are. Supports. Every faction in this game exists to buff the roles of a single member. Nature's Spirit exists to buff Mia, although not with her role. It's more of a Weapon Master buff. Ablaze Bounties exist to buff the gunner roles, and it doesn't even buff Claude per se, it just helps stabilize their economy. If we are looking at a more stringent definition of buff, the Ablaze Bounty synergy buffs the Weapon Master and Mage synergies, which would be beneficial to Esmeralda. The Astral Power synergy exists to buff a single hero by definition, and many do this using the crystal. The Astral Power heroes themselves are rarely considered in this. The same thing is seen in the Cadia Riverlands and Wormslayer Warrior synergies. Northern Veil exists to buff Aurora's Elementalist, allowing her to drop ice on the enemies twice from the start of the round. It can also buff Bane, but Bane is one of the few exceptions to this concept, because why is Bane even a gunner? Necro Keep was a force to be reckoned with when added to Vexana's Elementalist, but since she's now a summoner, the force has significantly weakened. Mystic Burial exists only for Hayabusa and maybe Kagura. Forsaken Light does not buff any of its heroes in particular, it is a support through and through. Next time you want to build a lineup, take into consideration the roles and the factions involved. A very good strategy I always employ is to build up the roles first, and as much as possible focus on building all of the heroes in the role. Mage players will agree with me that there is no hypercarry in the Mage synergy. You have to put your star core on one of them, usually Kagura or Kadita, but in reality, every mage does their part. From Cyclops to Faramis to Esmeralda to Julian to Kagura to Kadita, every mage does their part. The same can be seen in the Gunner synergy, where Layla remains a solid hero even into the deeper parts of the late game. While Claude can be seen as the hypercarry of the Gunner synergy, or more accurately the strongest and most important one, the others are not as useless as what you would see in a faction. Imagine having 3 guardians just chilling in the front line. Unless the enemy has mages or assassins, your backline is as safe as can be. Nature Spirit heroes all have the same physical defense of 0 when the synergy is activated. This means there is no tank here. Beleric or Atlas take the same damage as a Mia would. When you have the Guardian synergy enhanced by the Nature Spirit synergy, however, Beleric then becomes a brick wall. Even though the roles have more encompassing, more general synergy effects which can help every hero, as the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none, you still need to have a faction which adds a special buff to one of them. Take the Mystic Burial Mage combo for example. Every mage gets the increased damage and can do massive damage. Kagura then gets another special buff in the form of Bunshin no Jutsu, which allows her to spawn more Kaguras for more damage. Look at the Northern Veil Elementalist combo. The round starts with Aurora dropping 2 cool destructions on the enemies, which is then quickly followed up by 2 Yin Yangs from Luoyi and 2 laser beams from Xavier. Look at the Archer Prince combo. Make sure to check out the tutorial if you haven't already. This combo has so many factions at play, but at the base of it you have all of them existing to buff the Archer synergy. What do you think about the differences between the roles and factions in Magic Chess? Do you think there is no difference between the two? Do you agree that there is a difference but the difference does not matter? Are you a Taz Skill 3 player who does not care about the differences and is just being cancer? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.